Today I will be talking you through an experience around inspiring children to be active citizens as we explore the impacts of environmental practices on our island home. To explore the learning experience of experimenting with effects of pollution on our island home, we must first look at where our learning began. We first began our learning experience when we were using recycled cardboard on the fence as an easel, overlooking the ocean, when the children began to wash their paintbrushes in the water trough, and I posed the question, where do you think the water goes? The children shared ideas like it goes into the ground, it goes into the drain, or into the sandpit. We looked further past where we were painting, and I pointed to the beach and said, do you think it could make it all the way down there? After a discussion, we decided it was best to wash the brushes in a bucket and recycle the water onto our plants. After posing questions such as what were the effects of the water and the pollutants in the water to the children, I then moved on to considering how we could share with the children the effects of pollution on the turtles or other marine life. This learning experience, experimenting with the effects of pollution, gave us an opportunity for children to not only see how a healthy marine environment could look, but also what would happen when pollutants were added and what the differences were and the effects on the animals. We utilized a tray, water, sand, some sea animals, pollutants such as paint, oil, soil, and ghost nets. We first began by setting out a healthy habitat for our sea life. The children had the opportunity to explore, suggest, and share ideas of how this healthy habitat suited our sea life. We then began to add pollutants, including plastic bags, nets, soil, oil, and paint. And the children had the opportunity to discuss the differences between a healthy habitat and a polluted habitat, and also experiment by touching the animals to see what were the effects of those pollutants for the animals. After a discussion regarding the pollution experiment and each child sharing their ideas around what could happen, they each took the opportunity to draw some imagery to share with families, advocating for stopping pollution getting into the ocean. The children shared that the plastic bag was the most concerning, as it had the opportunity to be light enough to fly into the ocean. Each child was given a clipboard and a black pen only to support them in focusing on sharing their message in the drawing and to work independently where possible. As a service, it was important for the children to decide where to display these drawings/signs to be used as a reminder to support the children's learning and advocacy within their community. Role-playing our findings. It is important to consider the diversity of the learners in our cohort and the utilisation of a variety of learning strategies for children to explore and make meaning from the learning experience. Because of this, we chose role-play spaces in which they could experiment with safely collecting rubbish, engaging with the sea animals, and exploring the intricate features of each animal. Utilizing the early years learning framework planning cycle, I began to map our oceans and ocean life exploration. I began first by observing environmentally safer practices, so the washing of art materials and recycling of water. I analysed this practice and what this means for our island environment, including questioning with the children. In the planning phase, we engaged in discussions around how pollutants may affect local children, and the children chose the turtle as a focus. We chose to further explore our understanding of the effects on turtles using science experiment to replicate the ocean. We evaluated the turtle and plastic bag through drawing. Utilizing the Principles for Education for Sustainability framework and teaching strategies and mapped across the planning cycle shows that we used inquiry-based exploration, inquiry-based discussion, collaborative experimentation, participatory exploration and explanation through drawing, and inquiry-based discussion as we evaluated the learning. Why is it important to discuss environmental impacts with the children? Exploring the impacts of our practices on the local environment, I considered why we needed to be doing this. In order to find the appropriate information, I searched for local priorities. I found the Torres Strait State of Environment report card from 2024, in which priorities for the environmental sustainability and the matching of the First Nations priorities and scientific priorities are clearly shown. The principles for the land sea management of the Torres Strait are on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side we have a mapping of priorities with marine safety being very high. The effective teaching strategies and learning outcomes for exploring environmental safety on Thursday Island. Throughout this experience, the teaching strategies utilised include sustained open-ended questioning, collaborative learning through experimentation, the utilisation of visual prompts, modelling of sustainable practices, and place-based pedagogy. The early years learning framework outcomes, principles and practices included Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander perspectives and sustainability, play-based learning and intentionality, learning outcome 2, children are connected with and contribute to their world, and learning outcome 4, children are confident and involved learners.